Today we're looking at the pre-flight for circuit emergencies. So the aim of this pre-flight and flight is to understand the techniques, comprehend the procedures, and practice simulated emergencies on the ground and in the circuit. So today we're looking at the emergencies that can occur both on the ground and in the air. So the motivation behind today's lesson is it's quite exciting. This is the last lesson before we'll do pre-solo check in the circuit area. And another motivation factor is we've only got one engine, so in the unlikely event it fails, you want to have a safe outcome, whether it be on the ground or in the air. So, aeroplane, today we're in, let's say, Alpha Bravo Charlie, aeroplane type, so it's a Warrior, a PA-28 Warrior. Fuel, so let's say we've got 130 litres on board. Oil, we've got 6 quarts. Flight time today will be 1.3, so it's a little bit longer, and in ATIS, we've got Information Yankee. So in terms of the pre-flight, so make sure you do a good, thorough pre-flight, because one of the threats is we've got a threat of real emergency. The air will be not doing a thorough pre-flight, and the undesired aircraft that will be emergency landing. So the management technique would be do a good, thorough pre-flight. So in terms of the sequence, so radio calls. So the radio calls are a little bit different in this lesson. So I'll be doing a lot of them, but the easy sort of circuit radio calls I'll get you to do. Startup to runners will be done by you. So you're going circuit, you're going to in your circuit solo soon. So it's good practice, and I want to see how you're doing it. And then taxing and run-ups, will be done by you. Takeoff and training and landing. So we'll have a look at the operation center runway first, the board takeoff practice, but the engine failure after takeoff will be only done by me. And then circuit area, I'll demonstrate upwind, engine failure upwind, crosswind, downwind, and then I'll hand over, and then I'll give you a go as well. And then taxiing shutdown will be done by you. So you must control the airplane after an engine failure. So aviate, navigate, fly the airplanes first, then navigate, then communicate last. Set the attitude and judge the aspect to fly the glide approach correctly. So remember, power plus attitude is performance. We've got no power, so you must, in order to get the desired performance, you must set that correct attitude. So, in terms of ground, what is the engine fire on starter procedure? So procedure is starter engage, so you want the fire to go back into the engine, so you're getting throttle open, so you're getting as much air in, mixture, idle cut off, fuel pump off, fuel circuit valve off, so we're starving the fire of fuel. So operation center runway, so we'll look at emergency simulated engine failure after takeoff demo only. So what I'll do is I'll take off the airplane, cut the engine, cut the throttle. Won't actually, I'll just simulate an engine failure. And I'll lower the nose, land the variable surface, and apply braking as required to start straight lines. Remember, this is all in the quick reference handbook in terms of the takeoff safety brief, and you must do it on every flight, regardless if it was a dual or solo, and from memory. So simulate a board takeoff practice, takeoff roll, which we'll both have a look at. All you do is just close the throttle and apply braking as required to stop in a straight line. And for direction control, use your rudder. So the reasons could be bird strike, you could see poor weather, thunderstorms in front of you, and it could be static RPM not achieved, or T's and P's not green, or airspeed not alive. So circuits, we'll start with my thought of simulated engine failure. So if you don't hear the word simulated, assume a real engine failure is occurring. We've got the threat of simulating failures. The error will be poor communication. The management technique using simulate and the undesired aircraft state would be, confusion in terms of not knowing who's in control, so having a loss of control. So make sure you know that you use simulated, and it's really clear as well. Hear it, and if you don't know, ask, confirm with the instructor. Is it a simulated engine failure? Because after that, it'll be your controls. So in terms of QRH, so know that takeoff safety brief really well. Do it for every flight. So upwind, we'll have a look at simulated engine after takeoff. Minimum height is 500 feet. So just as an standard operating procedure, just to be safe. So what you do is close the throttle, lower the nose, choose a fuel 30 degrees either side of the nose, and confirm glide speed 73 knots for the Warrior. Crosswind, simulated engine fire after takeoff. Similar thing, close the throttle, lower the nose, choose a fuel 60 degrees either side of the nose, land on, and confirm glide speed 73 knots. So you've got a right range 60 degrees, but make sure you don't turn back for the runway unless you're at above 1,000 feet. So glide approach, watch out for traffic, as you could be cutting your base and final, so you might get too close to traffic. So if you do, make sure you use good command decision making and go around. And in terms of the glide approach, we've got the threat of um, undershoot, and the arrow will be raising nose stretch glide, and the undesired aircraft state will be landing short. So make sure you manage by set glide speed and trim as well. And in terms of the glide approach, aim point, and the factors affecting glide, so we've got temperature as well. So if it's hot and high, you won't glide as further. We've got less thin air. The prop is biting less air. There's less air flowing under the wings. Things like air density, pressure systems. Also, another big factor is wind as well. So if you've got a strong headwind, it will decrease your range versus a tailwind. It will help you reach the runway. So glide approach effect of aim point and flaps. So a steeper approach and brings aim point forward as well. So that's why you only use flap once you're sure of making the. So in terms of the application, so we'll do upwind. We've got center runway, so make sure you watch out. And you don't, I'll show you good fields as well. You can select. There's a golf course, but just tell me, I'm turning there, and I'll say great. I'd be turning there if there was engine failure, and then I'll say go around. So also make sure you don't actually start turning towards a golf course, as you'll impact the runway center line. And then on upwind, make sure you've got that rapid attitude change, and because we've got that through high nose attitude, there is an error. The management technique will be lower nose after engine failure, and the undesired aircraft state will be stalled. So the error would be not lowering the nose. So make sure you lower the nose as well, and set that glide speed 73 knots, and you trim as well. And then you do maintenance cycle, your pre-landing checks, so HHSS and pre-landing bumfish as per normal, and then somewhere a beam threshold of a mithril CY interface. So you do two things: convert your speed to height, intercept 73 knots, and turn towards your 1/3 aim point. Then check. So you do your CMF checks, carburetor heat, mixture, fuel pump, fuel switch to switch. Then you can do base work, and final will also be a combined work cycle of AAA. Aim point of 30 field, airspeed 73 knots, aspect. Checking if you're too high, too low. Listen for your clearance on base. Do your 300 feet checks as normal, and then do your shutdown checks. So F-triple-M, fuel off, mixture, mags, master all off. Remember, these are touch checks. You're not actually going to shut down the engine. Confidence is no confidence for this lesson, but a few things I will for as per the Part 61 manual standards. So complete checks in accordance with checklists. So follow that really thoroughly. Recover from simulated emergencies. So make sure you hear that simulated and use the appropriate procedures. Plus, one 2 minutes from center for takeoff and landing. So make sure you use the plenty of right rudder for takeoff, using the ailerons for maintain center line. So transfer controls is done using the handing over and taking over method. And make sure you manage the workload. You're doing circuits and you're doing a new thing, so workload can be high. So make sure you seek instructor assistance and prioritize tasks so you don't lose situational awareness. Priorities in emergency: aviate, navigate, and communicate. So that's the most important consideration. Look out, you're doing different procedures to others, so you can get too close. So make sure you have a good thorough lookout so you don't get too close to traffic. Smooth control and power inputs, and have a good active listening watch as well, so provides a mental picture of where traffic is. So thank you all so much for listening to the Circuit Emergencies Preflight.